So here we are aboard Baloo once again. I just thought I would share, as it's blowing a gale outside, just for a change. I often use in the winter to make stews and things like that, a small pressure cooker. So this is just to show you. At the moment I've just got in there some diced beef and some red onion. And then the other things that are going to go in are, they're just browning off in there. The other things that are going to go in are just some green beans, been soaking overnight, Scotch broth mix, so that's got split peas, lentils, pearl barley, all that sort of stuff in there. It does need to be soaked overnight even if you're doing a pressure cooker thing. Some mushroom ketchup, some stock cubes, some tomatoes, whatever you've got really, whatever you fancy throwing in there. So the next thing will be to just add the vegetables, add everything, put everything in, a bit more water, and then, which I'll show you, put the lid on the pressure cooker, and once it's built up the pressure inside the pressure cooker, about half an hour is more than enough for this. And it uses very little gas, because once the pressure's built up inside the pressure cooker, literally just turn the gas down as low as you can possibly get it without it going out. And then, yeah, I mean 20 minutes would be enough. I would usually leave it for about half an hour or something. So yeah, it uses very little gas. Once the lid's on and the pressure's built up inside and you've turned the gas down, very little steam gets inside. So yeah, really good thing to have where you're using bottled gas, anywhere you're using bottled gas really. Right, that's all in there now. Put some potatoes in there as well actually, and I don't think I mentioned mixed herbs, pepper. Yeah, so the next thing to do is put the lid on and allow the pressure to build up. So there we are. Yeah, the lid is now on. The gas is on about half or something, so I'll leave it on that heat setting until, and they all work in slightly different ways, but this one, that little red button, ball or whatever it is that you can see there, when the steam pressure inside the cooker has built up, that will raise up, and at that point I will turn the gas down as low as I can possibly get it without it going out, and leave it for 20-25 minutes, whatever. So yeah, it's all over bar the shouting and the eating now. And whilst we're just waiting for that to build up the pressure inside, I thought I would just show you as well the other thing that I use a lot for cooking on the boat is a thing called Remoska, which is R-E-M-O-S-K-A it's spelled. And basically what that is this pan or pot in a stand there, a little bit like a slow cooker I guess, except it's not. So yeah, it's a sort of a non-stick, fairly deep pan on a stand there, and then there's this thing, the lid, which as you can see it's got a mains plug on the end, so obviously you need to be connected to shore power or something like that if you're using this thing. And I guess the nearest description I can think of is like a little electric oven, because what it consists of is basically that lid there has got an element like the elements that you used to get on the old electric cooker, the rings on the top of an old electric cooker. It's got something like that inside that lid, and obviously then you put that lid on, you switch it on, you switch it on there. It's not plugged in obviously, but that's where you just switch the thing on, and that is really good. You can cook things like curries, roast, you can do a full roast dinner in there, roast things and crisps them up really nicely. Not something that you would do a stew in so much, so sort of cuts of meat that need longer cooking, slower cooking, are better done in a pressure cooker. But for something like putting a few chicken thighs with the skin on inside there, and put some potatoes in, some veg in, yeah, you can do a whole roast dinner in one of those. A really nice thing to have. think they're made. I think they might be made in Bulgaria or somewhere like that. One of the Eastern European countries is where they're made. And you used to be able to buy them at Lakeland. I don't know if Lakeland sell them anymore. That one I got off eBay, I think, for about 20 quid or something like that. But yeah, very nice thing to have. And about 5 minutes later now, you can see that little red indicator thing, button or whatever, is now up. So that means that the pressure has built up sufficiently inside for me to be able to turn the gas down absolutely as low as I can get it, and then 25 minutes or something like that, and I will just then switch the gas off, and at that point just allow it to just cool down naturally. You can release all the steam. If you want to release all the steam, you can, but you know, obviously that steam is then just going to go inside the boat, inside the cabin, which isn't really very desirable. These things, remember, your nan used to have well, my nan used to have pressure cooker, and the designs have moved on. The designs have moved on somewhat from those old pressure cookers where your nan used to stand back and flick the switch and the steam would fill the whole kitchen. This is just a small one actually. You can get them lots of different sizes. You get really big ones, that's about 2.5 litres I think, something like that. But yeah, there we are. So I've let the pressure go down, removed the lid, and there we have our tasty homemade artisanal small batch beef stew. Delicious. I've got loads left over. That'll keep me going all week, that will. And another top tip: use the biggest pan that you've used for your cooking as the washing up bowl. There we are, top liverboard tip of the day. Sit down and enjoy that now.